Today we got one of our first potential leaks for the up-and-coming Pixel 4. You can't make me do it, okay? I did the 30-day challenge, okay? A lot of you said I couldn't do it, but I did it. And if you think for a minute I'm gonna agree to that again, man, I was really hoping that the Pixel 3 was going to be a big enough flop that they would just cancel the line entirely. And before you go, oh, true, Google would never cancel a product line. You're gravely mistaken. Reports recently confirmed that they canceled the laptop and tablet division, probably due to the fact that the Pixel Slate and the Pixel Book were selling absolutely horribly, not because of my videos or anything, but legit because they were just bad, expensive products and no one wanted to buy them. If you can't get Marquez to even like the Pixel product, it must be pretty bad. So they canceled those altogether. They canceled support for Allo and a ton of other services. Google kills programs faster than they create them. So I was hoping 2018 would be the last year of the Google Pixel. If you're gonna do anything, revive the Nexus, but no, it sounds like we're getting a Pixel 4, so let's talk about what that could potentially be like. Oh god. Little heads up though, before we get into the Pixel 4 reports, the Tesla Model Y is being unveiled tonight, or it already has been unveiled, or it's being unveiled right now, depending on what time of day you're watching this. The unveiling starts at 8 p.m. Pacific time tonight, at the day this video is uploaded, and I'll be reacting to it live on my Twitch page, so make sure you're following me there if you want to catch my live reaction to the Model Y unveiling. I'm personally very excited to see it. And also, Apple has sent out their WWDC invitations for 2019. They look very exciting. And I'm sure we're gonna get all kinds of software and potentially even some hardware at this event. Big yay, but there's not enough information to turn into a video on those topics alone, so either way, that's that. Now moving on to the leak. This comes from Slash Leaks, and Phone Arena recently reported on this leak, which is where it got a lot of attention. And then Venya Geskin came out with his concept of what the Pixel 4 XL, or maybe just the regular model, will be like. Now, as Phone Arena has mentioned on their website, this leak has not been 100% verified, but I am not exactly sure what that means, because no leak is really verified until the phone comes out. And as I've mentioned in the past, for the most part, Google leaks end up being pretty accurate, mostly because they know coming up with fake information on the next Pixel phone is not going to drive a lot of clicks. I know that as well from reporting on previous generation Pixel phones. It's not that exciting, so there's not that much you have to gain for releasing fake Pixel rumors. So if anyone is releasing rumors or leaked renders of a Pixel 4, they're not doing it for clicks. They most likely have some legitimate information. And by the look of it, I do think over the Pixel 3 XL, it's definitely a design improvement if it ends up being real. In fact, quite the drastic upgrade in terms of design if this ends up happening. Looks like it's borrowing a few ideas from our Pixel Ultra concept we talked about months ago, but the reason I think that never really formulated into anything was because all of the leaks around the Pixel Ultra were kind of based off of a render that Google had within Android, with some generic looking phone with one size bezel all the way around, and a lot of people ran with that, and they were just like, oh, that's our look at the next Pixel, and Google referenced it during one of their keynotes and had an event date at the top that said Pixel Ultra meeting at this time. So people just kind of ran with it, and typically, if you believe in Google and you believe that there's something more, there's something bigger than you could have imagined, they're probably going to disappoint you, just like they did before the Pixel 3 was unveiled, by saying, so you think you know everything about the Pixel. Stay tuned till our next event and you'll find out you do know everything about the Pixel. But this is not coming from a hidden Google Easter egg or anything like that. This is a legitimate leak of someone who's found the schematics, and of course people have ran with it and said, okay, there doesn't appear to be a fingerprint reader on the back of the Pixel 4 design, which isn't really a huge surprise given OnePlus and Samsung have already hopped on board the fingerprint reader built into the display train. In fact, OnePlus made a fingerprint reader built into their display before the Pixel 3 even came out. So as per usual in the Pixel department, hardware is far behind the competition, but that's okay because it's stock Android, and it's Android coming straight from Google, and it's a huge operating system mess full of app crashings, video failings, pictures not savings. Luckily, I'm not the only one to report those information, so you can tell I'm not making this up. The Pixel 3 release was a quite literal dumpster fire. Nearly everyone who's used the Pixel 3 can report of some type of unreliability, overheating, microphones going bad, videos not saving, cameras being glitchy, the OS overall lagging. It's a very common thing with the Pixel 3. So a lot of people are definitely hoping that with the Pixel 4, Google can kind of, sand the edges of the Pixel line a little bit and provide a hardware and software experience that feels at least somewhat integrated and somewhat thought out and not feel like a complete train wreck, because that's kind of the bad taste that everyone has in their mouth because of this phone. That ugly notch, that big chin. So these leaks are somewhat encouraging to see that Google would be working on a camera hole punch out similar to Samsung. And hey, I've had a great experience with my Galaxy S10, so Google, if you are going to copy a company that's not Apple, I would definitely recommend copying the Samsung route, because they have probably the biggest competitor to iPhone there is, the Galaxy S10, already selling super well. So if you're gonna hop on a market trend, Samsung is one to hop onto. Probably the most sketchy part of this concept is the idea that the Pixel 4 won't have a chin, and somehow they're going to integrate one size bezel all the way around the phone, yet still retain those front-facing speakers that are integrated between the metal frame and between the glass, like I talked about in my Galaxy S10 jealousy video of the things I like about the S10. Somehow they're gonna pack those in together, but knowing the hardware team and knowing what Google's capable of, I do have a little bit of doubt about that, because even for 2018, I thought the Pixel 3 had a very massive chin, which just shows me that the hardware department is kind of behind what current events are. So if anything, I would expect the camera hole punch out on the Pixel 3 so that they can say like, ooh, we're like Samsung, we're the modern take on Android, and to avoid all of those notch complaints, which a ton of people were getting, so I understand why they would want to tackle that problem. But I would expect probably more of a chin at the bottom, as many people have talked about it on Twitter already. They don't believe Google can achieve the one size bezel all the way around that Apple's achieved, with the exception of that notch, just a year after this design came forward, and everyone thought it was a joke. Everyone thought Google was pranking us, and it turned out, no, this is actually real. But like I said, I don't think anyone has that much to gain by faking Pixel leaks, which is why whoever reported on this information, I do genuinely believe there's probably an argument to be made that perhaps the Pixel 4 will look like this. And then, of course, to address the elephant in the room, the dual camera on the back. They'll be adding a second lens to the Pixel 4, which, as I predicted for a very long time, Google mocks others and brags about how they don't need all that extra hardware to achieve something that other smartphones are doing, because we're a smartphone and we handle photography smartly, so we don't need that extra lens because we just have such good AI and image processing. Well, looks like they're caving if this ends up being real, which honestly I don't think is a bad idea. A lot of people seem to love the Google Pixel image processing, so allowing that to a second lens is probably not a horrible move at this point. But of course, my big question is, do they put an ultra wide on the back or do they put a telephoto? Either way, whichever one they go with, have to remember that the Pixel 4 comes out after the next iPhone, meaning by the time the Pixel 4 drops, even if it ends up having a dual camera on not just the back but also the front, like the last generation, then that would mean it's competing against the iPhone 11 Max, which will have a triple camera setup, ultra wide and telephoto, and not to mention the already existing Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus, with on the back sporting ultra-wide and telephoto lenses that do pretty well. Samsung's not the best at image processing, but if Google wants to keep up with modern-day trends, I'm just gonna say it, even if the Pixel 4 ends up being exactly right to this leak, which I personally think there's a good chance of that being possible, they're still gonna be behind the game, because iPhone will have more lenses than them and more photography and videography options, and so will the Galaxy S10, which will likely be a lot cheaper by the time the Pixel 4 comes out. I also doubt that Google's going to adopt any type of face unlocking technology, and they're probably just going to go all in on, I would guess, a 3D ultrasonic fingerprint reader just like the Galaxy S10 has done, but you're not going to see that cheap version that comes out next to the Pixel 4 maybe until 2020, given right now in March we still don't have the Pixel 3 Lite, even though we know everything about it and it's coming out in probably just a couple weeks. We still don't have that cheap version of the Pixel 3, still starting at $800 for the small version and the big version at $900. With the Pixel 4 shrinking on that notch, adopting the camera hole, I imagine them taking the price up. Pixel 4 XL probably going to start at $1,000, with the smaller model starting at $900, which ultimately, even if this design is real, I personally see it as a step in the right direction. I think the design would certainly be better than that of the Pixel 3 XL. It's certainly an improvement, as you would expect over a year of development, but ultimately I still think that the Pixel is positioning itself in the worst time of the year, because they released the phone right before the next Snapdragon Snapdragon comes out, because Samsung always beats everyone else to the punch, and they've got the Snapdragon 855 on the Galaxy S10 right now in March. So in October, when the Pixel 4 comes out, the Snapdragon 855 will be near outdated and competing with the more recent iPhone that'll be announced a month before the Pixel, which will be sporting the A13 chip, which most people are anticipating is going to be insanely fast and likely the fastest ARM chip on the market. I do like the idea of the one-size bezel all the way around, so I'm interested in seeing that, but I'm also not a fan of the camera hole being off to the side like Samsung did it. Personally, even after using the Galaxy S10, I would still like it to be in the middle. That way your widgets and your icons can be off to the side where they normally are. But as always, with these leaks and how they go, we will see what ends up happening. Also expect this Pixel 4 to be launched alongside a Pixel Watch, which hopefully is not going to be as clunky and as bad as the Pixel phones have been in the past. But yeah, that event, you should expect at least 3 pieces of hardware. And luckily, something I'm excited about, don't expect a sequel to the Pixel Book or the Pixel Slate, as it's reported that that department at Google is closing down and they're not going to focus too much on making laptops and tablets anymore, which is great because I thought they were junk, and I'm happy to hear that Google's like, you know what, we're not good at this anymore, we're just gonna stop. Thank you, Google. Let's move that on to the mobile division. Let me know if you guys think these Pixel 4 leaks are gonna end up being real. Does this change your opinion on the Pixel line? If it ends up looking the way Venya Geskin designed the concept for, would you be more interested in the Pixel as a phone? In my opinion, probably another reason the Pixel 4 leak might not be real is I'm noticing that the camera hole punch and the rear-facing camera would be about in the same place on the Pixel's design, meaning that this concept or this leak might not be real because those cameras, wouldn't they be overlapping each other? Maybe the camera hole will be more in the corner and the rear-facing camera will be further down on the phone, and they're able to fit those 4 cameras on a single phone right next to each other. I'm not sure, but all that good stuff, everything you're wondering, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll see you Twitch viewers tonight at the Tesla Model Y unveiling. Expect a video on that shortly. Have a great day.